What's up, everybody? I'm here with my friend Temitope. He is a worship leader, music producer, and he has a podcast, so I thought he'd be a great guest to come on the show. Thanks so much for being here. I'm so
Thank you
excited
so
to
much
get the
for
chance to talk to you,
having me.
get to do some interviews. This is awesome. And I thought you were in California this whole time, and you're actually calling from Iowa, so I got my time zones all mixed up, but we're here, and we did it.
We made it. Idaho, not Iowa.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, those states
But
kind
to be
of,
fair, everybody kind of gets Idaho and Iowa like mixed up. It's like, I think they're just like, what? Wait, we have states that start with I and they're different?
For real.
And
Right.
I'm always like, it's the potato state. Like, oh, okay, cool.
Potato.
Which,
Potato,
fun
potato.
fact, we used to live here. My wife and I used to live in Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
And in Boise, we lived in Boise. There is an Airbnb, like a experience Airbnb called the Potato. You literally sleep in a giant potato.
Is it like, what?
Yes, look it up. So it was super fun. I thought it was gonna be fun. I thought it'd be hilarious.
Have you been?
Oh, we stayed in it, bro.
Yeah, you did.
We stayed in it. So it's like this giant potato that they used to tour all around the United States, like to
Oh
let
my
people know about
gosh.
Idaho agriculture. Like that's what it was. Somebody bought it, or I think the lady that was doing the tours turned it into an Airbnb. She like literally hollowed it out, turned it into an Airbnb. I thought it'd be super hilarious for my wife's birthday to book it. So I called like my father-in-law. I'm like, dude, you want to go halfsies with me on this?
Yeah.
Because it, pretty expensive. And so we
That's an
booked
expensive
it.
potato, you know,
It
in
is,
this economy.
and it's like literally like in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, right though. Definitely in this economy. Like real potatoes now are the price of the Idaho potato. But we stayed in it and I hated it.
No, why?
There's no windows. You feel like you're
Oh,
sleeping
yeah.
in a coffin.
Oh,
So I stayed up all night. My wife like barely got sleep, but she kept waking up and laughing at me because I just
no
like was
way.
just sitting, just like kind of sweating bullets. Like I feel like I'm buried underground. There's no windows. There's no
Oh, you hated
airflow.
it that much? Like you couldn't even
Oh,
sleep?
I hated it, bro. And I'm like 6'2". My wife's 5'1". So for her, she's like, oh, fine. But I'm like, I can touch both sides
You're
of the
like, yeah,
wall.
claustrophobic. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was too much. We left at like 4 a.m.
No.
Yeah,
You just pieced out of there?
we're like,
Oh my
I'm like, I can't
gosh.
do it, bro. I can't do it.
That's hilarious. Oh, that is like such an experience. It's a good
Oh, we
story
would
now,
be.
though.
It's a great story now, but I'm like, I would never do it again. I just, it was like sleeping in a coffin, dude. I couldn't hang.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So Idaho.
Idaho, bro.
That's where
Idaho.
the potato's at. Okay.
Yeah. And to be fair, to give her credit, it's a very nice potato. It is.
Totally.
It's a nice potato.
How does it not? Oh, I've got so many questions, but I want to ask. I want to ask you about your worship and what you do with music. And I've been like literally listening to you nonstop since we booked this a couple weeks ago. I've just
Oh,
literally
great.
been scrolling through all of your songs. It's so
Oh, thank
so
you.
good.
Thanks, bro. Thank you.
You've been doing that. You've been going a long time.
Yeah, it's been a minute,
You got a
dude.
lot of stuff out there. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I just had a session with a friend who I've known since like I started
Mm-hmm.
writing, releasing music. And I used to send him songs all the time. Hey, give me feedback. Hey, give me feedback. And what I love about my buddy is he actually gave me feedback. His name's Paul Duncan. Actually gave me feedback.
Shout out.
And so I want to shout out Paul because he's just a legend. I mean, people know him or don't know him, but I mean, Lauren Daigle, like most of her songs, Paul Duncan's written on.
Nice.
A great dude, great writer, great father, husband. I mean, he's the real deal. So I would send him songs back at the beginning, and they were just like I was learning, right? Like you have to start somewhere. Like anything you want to do, if you want to do podcasting, videos, music, woodworking, whatever you feel called to do, or you feel God's calling you to do it, like don't go into it thinking that all of a sudden you're going to be expert level. Like you have to go through the trenches and dig
Totally.
the foundation to build the house on. You know what I'm saying? And so people can be really helpful in that process. Like if you feel called to do something, find someone that's doing it well and just say, hey, can I learn from you? And so Paul was that for me. So I sent him songs, was the point. And we just wrote recently, and he was just like, bro, you got better. And I was like, yeah, because I just kept writing. I
That's
kept writing
awesome.
and I kept releasing. And he was one of the few people that would give me real feedback, like, hey, this is a good song, explore this topic more, or hey, this is a good concept, these two things in the song don't make sense. And so I credit a lot of where my songs are at, and I leave my earlier stuff on there because I'm like, it's all part of the journey.
Yeah.
And I, for
Good for
somebody
you.
who
That's
enters,
cool. A lot of people don't do
I think
that,
it's
I feel
important.
like.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important even with like stuff like Instagram. Like, I don't really want to like get rid of things because I want people to
I
see
know. And some
where
people
I
do that.
came
They like
from.
clear it like every other month or week or whatever. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like for me, I think I've only deleted like 2 or 3 things on my Instagram, like ever. Like I like
Yeah,
leaving all the cringe out there.
I think it's good for people to
Part
see
of your
process.
life. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's process. Like, nobody, we all enter people's lives at different chapters.
Hmm.
So I think, sometimes you enter chapter 12 and you're like, oh my gosh, you have everything. And it's like, dude, there's 12 other chapters beforehand. And so I just
Right.
think a little like leaving up songs, leaving up stuff. And I've archived things on Instagram, but I've kept things that are like, oh yeah,
That's
this was
cool.
cringe, this was this, because I want people to see where I came from, but also for me to be humbled and to go like, oh yeah, like I wasn't always writing with these kinds of people. I wasn't always doing these kinds of things. I was just a
Just the
22-year-old.
transparency.
Yeah,
I've been
22 year
talking
old
about
boy.
that a lot lately about transparency and like music and art and just showing that like I don't know, I feel like there's like a new movement with like the Brandon Lake and the Benjamin William Hastings and like
Oh yeah,
those guys that are just like laying it all out there and just like talking about mental health and imposter syndrome and anxiety and just like all these subjects that like normally Christians don't talk about and leaving that out there. I feel like that's like a new wave of Christian music, which I think is pretty cool.
I think it's necessary. I mean, another guy that we talked about earlier, Gable Price. I mean, Gable Price and me are on the
Yeah.
same team. Super
Oh,
honest. And
for
then
sure.
I have a buddy named Blessing Offer.
Oh yeah,
Same
yeah.
thing. Yeah, and Blessing is cool because Blessing has found this way of finding songs that people can kind of enter in at any point. So
Mm-hmm.
like this might come in the middle of one of his songs, and you don't feel like you've like missed half of it because
Yeah.
he's such a good writer. However, the way he lives his life and what he even shows on social media, he's like, yeah, like he has a song called Brighter Days, and then his sister died. And so he was sharing, hey, like I it wouldn't be fair of me to just say like, here's a song called Brighter Days and not share with you that my days that aren't bright. He's like, because it's those dark days that make the brighter days mean more. And so
Yeah.
I
It's
think
so
it's good.
meaningful. And I think it's gonna help a lot of people see the real Jesus.
Yeah.
And
Jesus is,
and I hated like the idea of like being serious, like even what I'm creating, because I like to make people laugh and stuff. But part of even making people laugh is a sense of transparency and just like being real and just like making fun of ourselves and stuff like that. So I like that that's where I feel like things are headed moving forward in this like creative space, I guess.
people want to
That's
connect
something
with
you're
people.
doing. That's pretty awesome.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, people want to connect with people at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
connect with fans, they want to connect with people.
totally. Oh, it's so good. So what's the next thing you're working on releasing?
Yeah, so I actually have a song coming out. Um, and you're the first to hear, February 24th. We have my
Let's
first song.
go.
Yeah, I just signed with Capital Music Group. And
Oh,
so
for real?
mhm,
Nice. That's
yeah,
huge, dude. I know
thanks.
them. I know a lot of those guys because I reach out to them for interviews. So that's awesome, dude.
And they're
Congrats.
all great people. I mean, I can
They are.
affirm they're all great people. Or I guess I should say most of them are. I mean, there's I'm sure bad eggs, but I haven't found one yet. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it's been good. So this will be my first release with Capital.
Sweet. And that's February 24th.
February 24th, a song called I Love You to Death. And it's a little bit
Nice.
of a pivot kind of for me. So like just I really love I feel very passionate about the church. I
Hmm.
believe that the art the antidote, the healing for our divided world is a united church. And I think that the
Mm.
world teaching this doctrine that like, hey, differences have to stand against each other. So like if you can't say BLM, Black Lives Matter, if you can't say, I support LGBTQIA plus movement, if you can't say I'm a feminist, if you can't pick all of these things and stand with them like to the point of death, draw a line, pick up your gun and shoot the other side, then you're not really going to find a place. And I think that the family of God is so beautiful that it actually has space for everything.
Yeah.
And through Jesus, we can be reconciled back to God and each other. And that's allows us to come together with our differences versus standing against each other because of them. We stand together with them. And that's important because if you look at the book of Revelation, it talks about the diversity around the throne of God, every tribe, every nation, every tongue. That's to
Yeah.
denote, in my opinion, color, culture, and creed. We don't all think the same way because God is too beautiful to be monotonized into one monochromatic structure. So that's not to say, hey, we come into agreement with different sin in our life and that is going to be around the table and we got to celebrate our sin. No, that just means that like God has made us intentionally, Psalm 139, fearfully and wonderfully created us in the mother's womb to reflect his heart in a way that only we can. And through submission to Jesus by saying, yes, I recognize I've fallen short and I need your help. All of the things that he's innately created us to be can be put into right alignment under his banner. So all that to say, I've been passionate about church music and I'm starting to
Yeah.
expand a little bit because the reality is for a lot of people, including myself, I listen to Sunday morning music, obviously when I'm in a corporate gathering and a little bit outside of that. But I mean, I'm also listening to like Phoebe Bridges, Lizzie McAlpine, John Mayer. I'm listening to other people. And
Right.
so trying to find a way to encourage the church and give Christian concepts to listeners beyond Sunday morning applications.
That's so cool. I love that. I think that's one thing God's really teaching me a lot about right now is music and art outside of, the church that he can use to reach people, to bring them closer to him, to encourage believers and encourage people who are churched. I think we put a little too much label on like everything has to be Christian, especially with music. That's one area where I feel like people like that they might only listen to Christian music, but it's like those same people probably aren't only watching Christian movies. You know what I mean? Like it's like a
Pure
double
flicks.
standard. Yeah, they're like only watching Pure Flix. I don't know anyone who only watches Pure Flix, but I know a lot of people that don't let any other music into their lives. So just like learning how like I don't know different things God can use. God can use whatever.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I think of the scripture, like, don't be conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And so,
That's
like,
good.
don't conform, but you have to be a part of the world. Like,
Yeah,
where God needs, like Matthew 5, like, we were made to be light in the darkness, city on a hill. Like, we were made to exist within the world and live counterculturally, like your city's up behind you. We're
I know we
made
were
to
talking
stay
about that in a
upside
minute.
down.
I was just explaining that like before this interview started that this is to represent like the upside down kingdom of God. And I was just staring at it one day and I just looked at it and I was like, I should just flip that upside down because I was just praying through what that really means. And so that's just to remind me of like the upside down kingdom of God and how everything just like operates differently when we're in that mindset.
But it exists within the world. I mean, like people know
Mm-hmm.
that landscape. The reason that there that makes you kind of go, what is that? Is because it's a thing that you would see in the world just upside down. It's transformative. And so
Yeah.
I do think when it comes to like living in a quote unquote Christian bubble, like I don't think that's what God's called us to. I think God's called us to be salt, right? To exist within culture, to be light. Light's best seen within darkness. Salt is best distinctly tasted on food. So if we
Yeah.
just try to be a bunch of salt together like this,
I've never heard that analogy taken that way. You're not just supposed to eat salt. That's so funny.
I mean, but it's like true.
It's
It's just
true.
like, and salt is cool because it also enhances what's already there.
Yeah,
And so I think as the church, like being salt in the world is like, I think there's such a beauty of saying like, hey, like the way God has made you is beautiful.
mm,
We
yeah,
just want to show you like Jesus is the enhancer. Jesus is going to take the way that you already have been made and recraft it, redefine it, restore it into the right alignment. And
that's
that's a
awesome.
sweet, that's good news, bro. Like who would not be excited to hear like, oh, God actually wants me as me. I don't have to actually be like this or that or whatever. Like, no, God actually just wants to use you as you. And so
Wow,
I'm trying to create music and resources that help further that narrative and equip the church to do the work because I can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. Like we need each
right.
other.
That's so good, dude. gonna have to start listening, catching up on your podcast. All your sneaky preaching here. It's so good. That's what we call it at my young adults program. We're like, that's a sneaky preach.
A sneaky
That
preach.
was
I've
good.
never
Sneak
heard
a
that.
preach. That's so good. But yeah, tell me about your podcast and what you do with that.
Yeah, so it's called the Lumpy Couch. I think it's a similar. I mean, so the whole thing is called the Lumpy Couch. Let's get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Um, and
I
it's
like that. I
similar.
didn't know why it was called that. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we don't like to talk about uncomfortable things, but like kind of like
Right.
we're talking like being in the world. It's like the world exists in like the gray and in the
Mhm.
discomfort. What do we do with Roe v. Wade? Like, how do we stand for life and also like tell mothers who want to be and don't want to be mothers, like you matter and what you feel like. How do you do all that? I don't know. You have to step into these spaces. Because we can't, you know, I think the way that Jesus is the way of Jesus is just so is I hate the word nuance, or I'd hate to say the word nuance because truth is truth and so clear. But at the
Right.
same time, like Jesus somehow can get people to stop throwing stones at a prostitute and at the same time tell the prostitute you're seen and change your life. You know what I mean? He
Wow.
does
Yeah.
all, so we somehow need to emulate that by the power of the Holy Spirit. We can. So the podcast kind of started similar to you. Like it was like I was actually on this journey of appreciating who God created me to be. I grew up in San Diego. I grew up in a majority white culture. My
Hmm.
parents are immigrants. My dad's Nigerian. My mom's British. So you got my
That's
Nigerian
cool.
dad, a British mom, and the kids born and raised in the United States. It's all these cultures clashing all the time. So I tell people it was a cultural cocktail, but like not like a Moscow Mule, like a fun one. It was like a Molotov cocktail where the flames were just like everything was
That's awesome.
exploding. Simple things like dating, like that was just crazy in our home because you have three different cultural perspectives coming in,
Oh
and
wow.
becoming a musician, like three different cultural perspectives coming in.
Right.
So I just actually, like, full transparency, grew up and I didn't love being black. I didn't love being the son of immigrants. I wished I was white. I wished that I was quote unquote normal,
Oh
that
my
my parents
gosh.
culture, and I wasn't, I
That's
don't,
terrible.
it was tough because I wasn't really in an environment where like there was anybody actually saying, no, 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 like actually difference and distinction and color, all these things
Just
matter.
celebrate who you are. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. It was much more of like just, yeah, it was just more quiet. So I'm gonna get up real quick because I hear one of my children about to walk in here. Hey, buddy. He's dancing because he's got to go potty. But anyway, yeah,
I
I
love Zoom interviews.
I mean it's just real life.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so I just kind of grew up and kind of didn't like who I was, and it took me a little bit of time to realize, like, actually it was through an experience in Atlanta where I was on an all black flight, my first time ever being with all black people. Have you been to Atlanta before?
Yeah.
So it's like a minority majority, so there's more people of color than there are white people. And so
Right.
like I was like in that, I was just having this total like experience of like, what is happening? Like I've never felt like I was in the majority of anything. I've always felt like I was an other, but now I'm with a bunch of other people and I'm seeing there's so much diversity, so much distinction. And then we get to this house to write a bunch of songs. And a guy stands up, no thanks, buddy. Night, buddy. Um, he gets up and he goes, hey, like look around the room, look at the diversity here. Like heaven doesn't look like you or me, it looks like us. And I was like,
Mm.
oh my gosh. That's like when all the gears in my life that were spinning, not creating traction, finally created traction. And so
Oh
once
wow.
I got there, I started to ask myself a lot of questions. And I started to ask questions of just people. And so I'm like, might as well film it. Might as well like make it an
Yeah.
Instagram live, make it available for people. And so that turned into the Lumpy Couch. There's like 60 or something episodes that like you
Wow.
can
Congrats
do.
on that. That's huge. That's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, they're like all Instagram live. And now we filmed, we professionally filmed and recorded another season that we're like, hey, let's make this more accessible because right now it's only accessible through Instagram Live. And people were like, hey, can I listen to it on Spotify, Apple Music, or whatever? So we're in the
Right.
process of figuring out, now that we have like these episodes professionally done, like how do we get these out to people? Because it takes a lot of money and time. And
Right.
I'm only one man.
Right, right. It does. Creating content is such a huge undertaking, and people, I think, don't realize how much behind the scenes there really is of editing and posting and storage and just like organizing all of it. It's intense. So
Yeah.
that's impressive that you got 60 done through Instagram. That's a smart way of doing it. I thought about doing these through Instagram instead of Zoom or whatever video app I'm using, um, but good for you for taking that step.
Bro, we tried. I mean, and it was sweet, but I will say, like, as you know, even doing doing it, whether you're doing it on Instagram or just recording, it's just a lot of work. And
It's a
so,
lot of work. There's no real way to cut corners, and the easier it is to like make content, the higher standards viewers have, if that makes sense.
right, right.
Like it never really, you need to put a certain amount of work into it no matter what.
Yeah.
It's like if you get if you know when tech continues to get better and just our options of making content continue to grow, it's like the quality needs to grow with that, not necessarily getting easier. So it's always a lot of work, and it always will be, even though now AI is so helpful and all this stuff. It's like it's still going to be a lot of work.
Dude, the AI space freaks me out.
It's crazy. I use it for
It's
emails, but that's all I can figure out how to use it for. It's insane.
Use
It
it
can
for
do so
emails.
much. I do every once in a while. I just say, write me an email about this, and it sounds great, and I just send that.
What? That's amazing.
That's weird. I'll just like send like if you want it to sound like a human though, you have to say and make it really nice at the end, and then it adds all this like friendly. Hope your day is great. It adds all that, so
That's amazing.
it's weird.
I know somebody who, I won't say his name, literally wrote a children's book with an AI.
Oh, I heard about that. Maybe this is another thing, but I heard somebody did that, and it was
Yeah.
really controversial because they were like, "This isn't right," and they used AI for the illustrations too.
Yes, bro. And the illustrations.
That's crazy. Ah, that's wild. And then you just put it on Amazon, and then you just make bank.
I know. I told my buddy, I was like, does this feel like are you gonna give the AI like credit? Like co-authorship?
Right?
And he's like, no, I wrote it. And I'm like, no, but you didn't though.
No, you did not actually.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, actually, that kind of segues into our game with AI. I didn't even mean to
Let's
do
do
that.
it.
Look at
I
that.
love
We're gonna play a game called it's like Password. I don't know if you've heard of that. And I actually did this with David Funk, your friend. I didn't even know you guys knew each other, but if you saw that video, it's the same game I played with him. And you have to say, "Hey Google," and then you have to get it to say a certain word. So we have to like find a list of words or something, and then we have to use the list of words, and whoever gets more words wins. All right, we ready to start?
Oh yeah.
Okay, here we go. Our first word is governor. I've got a random word generator. Governor.
Okay. Can we ask?
We can say anything, but you have to tell me because you're quiet in this room. So you got to tell me to say something. Okay, so you go first.
So I say, hey Google,
Mhm.
what do you call a person that runs a state at a legislative level?
Hey Google, what do you call a person who runs a state at a legislative level? Kind of a tongue twister.
Sorry, I didn't understand, but I found something related. Do you want to know what is the legislative leader called?
Yes.
On the website house.gov, they say, elected by the whole of the House of Representatives, the Speaker acts as leader of the House and combines several roles: the institutional role of presiding officer and administrative head of the House, the role of leader of the majority party in the House, and the representative role of an elected member of the House.
Okay. I got another one.
You got another one?
Uh-huh.
Let's do it. Hey Google, volume 9. Be quiet.
I love that she's also British.
She is.
Yeah. Very nice. Makes me feel like I'm talking to my mom.
You'd think we'd be able to get her to say governor. They always are like, top of the morning, aren't they, governor?
Yeah.
They say that
And they do in the movies. I
in
love
the
that.
show business.
And the show business. Okay, so
Okay.
I would.
It's like down there. I'm like,
I know. I'm trying to remember what's his name, who runs the governor of California. It's Pelosi's nephew. His name is. Do
oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
is it Newsom?
Yes. Okay.
Is it Gavin
Gavin.
Newsom?
Gavin
Yeah,
Newsom.
yeah.
So, hey Google, what is Gavin Newsom's title?
Hey Google, what is Gavin Newsom's title? He still does that.
Governor of California.
It's louder.
There
Let's
we
go. Let's go. We got it. All right, that's one. Let me get our random word generator.
Okay.
All right.
This is a good game, bro.
I did steal it from Jimmy Fallon.
Who cares? If it works, it works.
Oh, the next word is discrimination.
Okay, it's you, right?
Okay, let's see. Trying to think like anti-discrimination laws, like something like that, but I don't know how to get there without saying the word. That's what's tricky. That's the entire point of the game. What's it called to like prejudice, like something like that?
Yeah, prejudice, racism.
Hey Siri. Oh no, it's not Siri. Hey Google, what are laws to end racism?
My apologies. I don't understand.
What else?
You could, I mean, Jim Crow. You could ask her about Jim Crow.
What should I say?
You could say, what were Jim Crow laws?
Hey Google, what were Jim Crow laws?
According to Wikipedia, the Jim Crow laws were state and local laws introduced in the southern United States in the late 19th and early 20th centuries that enforced racial segregation, Jim Crow being a pejorative term for an African American. The laws were abolished in 1965.
No.
Hey, that's great. Great definition.
No point for me.
People.
I know my family's gonna be like, what is Google talking about?
I know. I wonder if you also could say, you could also get, hey,
About like redlining.
Redlining, yeah, you could try that, or you could even ask, what is racism?
Here we go. Hey Google, what is racism?
According to Wikipedia, racism is the belief that groups of humans possess different behavioral traits corresponding to inherited attributes and can be divided based on the superiority of one race over another. It may also mean prejudice, discrimination, or
We gave up for a sec.
people because they're of a different race or ethnicity.
We're like cheering the definition. No.
We're not
Ooh,
cheering,
we are
discrimination and racism. We're cheering that we got the name right.
We got a point. That's terrible. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. All right, let's see. Your word is vegetable. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
What do you got? It feels so much easier.
Hey Google, what is corn?
Hey Google, what is corn? It just starts playing the Corn Kid song.
According to Wikipedia, maize, also known as corn, is a cereal grain first domesticated by indigenous peoples in southern Mexico about 10,000 years ago. The leafy stalk of the plant produces pollen inflorescences and separate ovuliferous inflorescences called ears that when fertilized yield kernels or seeds, which are fruits.
Which are fruits?
Okay, fine.
They're fact checking us.
Hey Google, what is a tomato?
Hey Google, what is a tomato? That is a fruit. That one's a fruit.
According to Wikipedia, the tomato is the edible berry of the plant Solanum lycopersicum, commonly known as the tomato plant. The species originated in western South America, Mexico, and Central America. The Mexican Nahuatl word tomatal gave rise to the Spanish word tomate, from which the English word
Google,
tomato derived.
Yeah, VeggieTales is out here lying to us.
Gosh,
I think cucumber's a fruit too. It's got to not have seeds. It's got to not have seeds,
right? It's a seed.
Yeah, if it has seeds, then it is a fruit for some reason.
Okay. So, hey Google.
There's culinary and then there's biology or something like that. I don't know. It's weird.
Which is stupid. They don't teach us neither of those in school, nor they teach us how to do taxes. So
Don't even talk to me about taxes right now. It's so bad. I'm logging all my miles right now, and it's taking me days to think back every drive and map it all. Oh,
I
so
literally
bad.
keep it all on my calendar. So I have all the places I go on my calendar, but I go back every year to do the whole mileage, which is stupid. Like I could just keep track of it.
I
But
gotta just get an app anyway.
they have apps. Seriously, they
They
have
have
apps.
them, and I just don't want to pay for them. Yeah. Oh, tax month takes so long.
And it's coming up too, it's sneaking up.
Yeah, it really is. All right, one more for vegetable. What else? You got anything else?
Google, hey Google, what are the food groups on the food pyramid?
Hey Google, what are the food groups on the food pyramid? We're taking it a different direction.
On the website USDA.gov, they say, as the My Plate icon shows, the 5 food groups are fruits, vegetables, grains, protein foods, and dairy.
Yeah, let's go.
People also sometimes ask me,
hey Google,
what's
stop.
the food group at the top of the food guide pyramid?
Google, stop.
Do you want to hear the
Okay, we got it.
Very well. She doesn't listen very well.
Or say the words we wanted to say. All right, let's get one more word here. A company.
That's a tough one.
Ow. I feel like I'm getting harder words.
Oh, you just say this. Hey Google, what are synonyms? Synonyms.
Oh yeah. A company.
With.
Hey Google, what are synonyms of with?
I found 18 on the website thesaurus.com.
Here we go.
Synonyms for width. Here are the first 5. Diameter, girth, scope, span, and thickness. Do you want to hear more?
Yeah. Hey
Sure.
Google, what are synonyms for
amplitude?
Oh, I said yeah to you.
Broadness.
Hey Google, what are synonyms for width?
Follow the link I just sent to your phone.
What?
Oh, whoa.
Hey Google, what are synonyms for the word width?
I found 11 on the website thesaurus.com.
11.
Synonyms for width. Here are the first 5. Along, alongside, amidst, among, and beside. Do you want to hear more?
Yes.
All right, here's 3 more. By, for, and including. To see the whole list, follow the link I just sent to your phone.
Wow. Sending links. It's out here sending links left and right.
She's really persnickety.
It's the British voice that makes it sound British. Yeah.
What if you said, hey Google, what's another way to say to go with?
Hey Google, what's another way to say to go with? That's what I was kind of thinking. Like,
I found 25 on the website merriam-webster.com. Synonyms of go, with. Here are the first 5. Coordinate, blend, harmonize, parallel, and supplement. Do you want to hear more?
No. If we get this, I'm going to be so proud of us. Let's try one more.
Okay, let me know if you need me.
A company, like I'm thinking, like, what is it called? Like in a show, like where you like a company, like play the piano.
Yeah.
Hey, that's Google, what's it called when you play the piano for someone while they're singing?
On the website Quora.com, they say the general term is accompaniment. Some accompaniment is written note for note. This is generally called sheet music, and some is just sketched melody line.
All right.
This is called a lead sheet or a
That's
chart.
good, dude. That was good.
That was good. You're good at that game.
Bro, you got that last one. I'm like, that's smart. Yeah, accompaniment.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little cheap when I ask for a definition of the word, but we got it. We got a version of it.
We figured it out.
All right, well, your song, I'm going to be looking for it on the 24th. I'm excited. I'll put links to all of your podcasts and your Instagram and your music below, so people can check you out.
Bro. Thank you for your time, dude. Thanks for having me back, bro.
I'm so glad we got to do this. I'm so glad we were able to connect and talk and play a game. It was super fun.
Yeah, dude. You have a good one.
You too. Thanks, man.
Dude.